Hari Om. Good morning, children. Welcome to today's session. God bless you. Have a nice day. Today we are dealing with fourth unit, the attic. So, prose part, the attic, written by Satyajit Ray. Usually, attic is a place, the topmost room of a building under the roof, and we dump all the unwanted materials in the attic. And this particular story, the attic, refers to the lost hidden treasure that was just dumped in the attic, which was found later after 29 years. And since it was picked up from here, I think the title, the attic, remains suitable here. This attic is written by Satyajit Ray, a famous Indian filmmaker, screenwriter, writer, graphic artist, music composer and author. And he was a native of Kolkata, born in Kolkata on the 2nd May 1921. He authored several short stories and novels, especially for young children and teenagers. His first movie was Padar Panchali and won several international awards. Its success set Ray as a world-class director. He received many awards, including 32 National Film Awards by the Government of India. He received Padma Bhushan in 1965 and the highest civilian honor, Bharat Ratna, just before his death. He died on 23rd April 1992. And here we'll have to point out he is from Calcutta, and Calcutta has produced a number of prodigies here, starting from Rabindranath Tagore. Then we have the famous poetess Toru Dutt, and on that line we also have this a great director Satyajit Ray, and he has won the highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, just before his death. Okay, and he imparts a number of morals to the young children and teenagers here, and this particular story deals with the expression of regret for some fault that the boy had committed during his childhood, and it had taken nearly 29 years to realize and seek apology to the person concerned for his mistake. And this attic is the focus here because the lost article was found in this attic only, and this attic is a famous and favorite place for children here. This is their own world where they just enjoy playing with all the unwanted materials and all that there. And this attic here is a room where the hidden treasure was found, and which paved way for the apology, and that too after 29 years. Okay, and now you have too many characters woven around. You are talking about Aditya and Sanyal. They were the classmates there. We are talking about their childhood only. And coming to this Aditya was a spoiled child of an affluent parents. Okay, his parents were wealthy. His father was a landlord and his grandfather was a zamindar, and they just lived in an ancestral house that was 200 years old, it seems. So since they were affluent, that is wealthy enough, he had taken advantage there. He was a fairly good student, but he was always jealous and envious of Sanyal, who was the best student, a very studious student, and who even won the medal for recitation. And this Sanyal is very fond of reciting all Tagore's versions, poems there. Okay, so we have seen two characters here. We have seen Aditya and we have seen the other character, Sanyal. Okay, and when he was studying in 10th standard, he took up his examination, and thereafter they just left for Calcutta. where he joined for higher studies, and his father started a business. And now you just see another person joining Aditya. He is the narrator actually, and the narrator here is Satyajit Ray, and he was a friend come partner. So they had started a factory there at Deodarganj, and after visiting their site, they were just on their way, and all of a sudden they just took a turn to Brahmapur, that is a village where they had lived once upon a time. And Aditya had two reasons to visit this place. Actually, Brahmapur was his native village. And the second thing, after meeting his friend Sanyal at the tea shop there, he was just feeling guilty that he had to return the lost article and to seek apology. And that was the other reason, and thereafter he just visits his ancestral house. So there are two reasons for Aditya to visit his native land here. Okay, I think I've just given you the story. We are talking about the childhood friends there who were doing up to 10th standard, and one was very bright and the other one was a fairly good student only, but he was very jealous and envious with the other, and as he was very smart and all that, and once he just wins a medal for recitation, and this boy Aditya wanted to show the medal to his father there, and thereafter took the medal and he lost it. And thereafter he just left for Calcutta for his further studies there. And after 29 years, he becomes a very great business magnate. And when he was just on his way with his friend from their side, they just happened to visit their own ancestral village, that is at Brahmapur there. And there he meets his friend Sanyal, and he realizes things. He just recalls his childhood memories there, and his misbehavioral act, his deed there, and thereafter realizing the mistake, he want to convince the person there, and he was leading a cursed life actually. Sanyal was leading a very cursed life there. So this is a story that takes place after 29 years. Children, remember, he just took his matriculation. So he belongs to Brahmapur village there. He studied there up to 10th standard, and after his matriculation examination, he just left for Calcutta. He went there for pursuing his higher studies there, and his father was a landlord, and he was just starting a business there. And after 29 years, he became a very rich shot. He became a very big business magnate. And when he was returning from his site with his friend, he happens to take his way towards his ancestral village. And here I'd like to point out that he had two main reasons there. One, to recall his childhood memories, and the second one, he had realized his mistake after meeting Sanyal. See, underline this, after 29 years. And thereafter he wanted to restore and convince him. So for that sake, he just went to the attic there, and there he just searched for the medal and then returns the medal there. So this is the story, and this particular concept you will have to note it. So majority of the people, to err is human, that is what is said. To err is human. Okay, it is quite natural that every human make a mistake there. But how many of us realize it, and how many of us ask sorry for the deed there, and how many of us try to repent and to rectify the mistake there? Only very few. And here we have a particular character who understands and try to rectify his mistake there. Okay, so this is a gist of the story that I have given you, children. Okay, so you will have to understood, attic is a place, a small room of a building found at the topmost under the roof, and this is a place where all the unwanted things are dumped here. But here this attic seems very special because it is a place where the lost article was found, and this lost article had paved way to seek apology, and that too after 29 years. Okay, hope you have understood the story. Okay, see the story, the attic is about the rich man who expresses his regret for some fault he committed 29 years ago during his childhood. Hope you remember who is this guy. He is none other than Aditya. Okay, so he asked sincere apology to person concerned for his mistake. And who's a concerned person here? The concerned person here is Sanyal. And after, so the mistake was made when he was in 10th standard. He realizes his mistake, and after 29 years, he realizes and he asks sincere apology to the person concerned. Hope you understand the two characters here. So the man who expresses regret is Aditya, and the concerned person to whom sincere apology was sought was Sanyal. So we come across two characters here. And attic is a place where all the unwanted things are dumped, and this is a favorite place for the children. Okay, because they just keep playing with all the rubbish there. But here this attic seems very special because it is here that the lost article, the medal, was found, which paved way for the sincere apology. Okay, now let us proceed with the story, and I think it is given in the form of key points here. I have just given you the main points with which you can just consolidate the or summarize the lesson there. Okay, so the narrator here is Satyajit Ray. The narrator and Aditya were returning from the site of their new factory at Diodar Ganj. I told you, so his native place was Brahmapur, and he finished his 10th standard there, and thereafter he left for Calcutta to pursue his higher studies there. And after 29 years, he has become a very great businessman, and he, along with his friend come business partner, his business partner, after visiting their site, they were just making their way through this to Calcutta. On the way to Calcutta, they decided to go to Brahmapur, Aditya's native place, after 29 years. So after, on the way, they had to cross this Brahmapur, and this Brahmapur is the native village of Aditya. So Aditya's father was a landlord, and his grandfather was a zamindar. They lived in a house that was 200 years old. Okay, as they were returning from their site, they just decided to take the way to Brahmapur, and this was finalized by Aditya for two reasons there. Okay, one reason to recall his memories, and the second reason to find out the last article, and after realizing his mistake there. Yes. Aditya's father left the ancestral home and moved to Calcutta to set up his own business there. So from Brahmapur, they just left for Calcutta to set up their own business there. And after his father's death, Aditya was looking after it. Okay, he had to take care of the business there, and thereupon he comes across the narrator, and with his collaboration, he just runs a business. So Satyajit Ray, the narrator, is the author's friend come business partner. So on reaching Brahmapur, they reached Nagen uncle's tea shop, where they saw a man called Sanyal. Okay, now we will have to know about this Nagen uncle. So this is a place where the school children assembled on the way to school and all that. And he was a rustic character. You can just see him preparing tea, and they just stopped there, and therefore they found there at a corner table a Sanyal. Aditya was not able to recognize Sanyal, but Sanyal was able to recognize him with the help of the mole that he had on his right cheek. Okay. And through this Nagen uncle, he comes to know about Sanyal. His full name is Sasanka Sanyal, and through him he comes to know that he led a cursed life. You just call it a cursed life because he sold his lands to get his only daughter married, and he lost his wife and only son last year. And now he was left without any support and nobody to take care of him. And therefore he had to stay with his father's friend Jogesh Kabiraj. And he was very poor, and he was gradually losing his eyesight also, and he did not have enough money to buy spectacles. And the daily routine of Sanyal was to visit this Nagen uncle's tea shop there, and he would have his tea along with some biscuits and savories, and then after 4 he would leave the tea shop. And here he had this sense of self-respect. I underline this point because he never failed to pay for the tea and the biscuits he had. Though he seemed to be very poor, he never just gave up his self-respect there. So every day he just made a visit there. He had his tea with some biscuits and savories, but he never failed to pay money for it. This shows his sense of self-respect. See, and he's a very refined and a decent character here, and you will have to understand about him. So majority of them try to cheat. Everywhere and anywhere we find so many people, but here you are talking about Sanyal, who was very poor, never gave up his self-respect. He just paid money. And again, uncle used to boast him that the other customers would be visiting, and therefore it is time for him to leave for his home there, because he was gradually losing his eyesight also. Okay. So the author and the narrator through Nagen uncle come to know about Sasanka Sanyal, that he was leading a cursed life there. He has sold all his lands to get his daughter married, and he had lost his beloved wife and his only son, and now he had nobody to take care, and therefore he was under the custody of his father's friend Jogesh Kabiraj. He was very poor and he could not even buy spectacles there. At the same time, he was a man of self-respect who never failed to pay for his tea, and it was his daily routine to visit Nagen uncle's tea shop. When he just visited there, Sanyal started reciting the poem, and the poem was Pan Raksha. The meaning of Pan Raksha is keeping one's promise. He purposely recited the poem there. On reciting this poem, Aditya felt guilty, and the narrator could not understand what was happening there. He could notice some change on the person who was reciting the poem and his own friend Aditya. Now he was embarrassed and he did not know what to do and how to react, but he just wanted to know, but it was not revealed by Aditya. And after listening to the poem recited by Sanyal, see, I told you it was the poem Pan Raksha. The meaning of Pan Raksha is keeping one's promise there. And as soon as he started reciting this poem, there was a change on Aditya's face, and he felt guilty there, and he immediately urged Aditya, urged the narrator, his friend, to visit his ancestral house. The narrator was curious to know of what was happening there and why there was a sudden change on his face, and therefore he asked him, but he was not ready to reply, and therefore he decided to take a visit to his ruined house. I told you, he wanted to visit his ancestral house, and he had 2 reasons for that. One reason to recall his childhood memories, and this is the second reason. On listening to the recitation of the poem Pan Raksha by the character Sanyal, he felt guilty, and thereafter he wanted to visit his ancestral house, especially the attic where he had lost or where he had dumped the medal there. Okay, here I would like to point out that Sanyal Sasanka realized this man, though he was turning old. I don't know how he was able to recognize, but he says it was the mole that made him recognize that he was Sanyal, and in order to teach him a lesson, he had purposely recited the poem there. Okay, now I think you can understand. But Aditya was not able to recognize him until he recited the poem, the Pan Raksha. Hope you understand the situation, children. So they just met at the Nagen uncle's tea shop. The Nagen uncle tea shop was very close to the school and opposite to the Lord Shiva's temple there. And the tea shop had other biscuits and savories also sold there. And Sanyal's daily routine was to visit Nagen uncle. And this is a Excuse me, this is an event that takes place after 29 years. And after 29 years, he was seated there at the corner table, and just then the narrator and Aditya had visited the tea shop there, and Sanyal was able to recognize him. He immediately stood up there, and then he just got ready, stretched himself there, and then opened his eyes wide, and he started reciting the poem. And only after listening to this recitation, Aditya was able to recognize him. Immediately he felt guilty, and thereafter urged his friend, narrator, to visit the ancestral house. Hope I have just arrived at the point so that you can just make it easily. Now he went to the attic and searched for a silver medal, which is an antique. But he never knew the nature of the silver medal unless and until he just visited a jeweler's shop and found out that it was an antique thing. In those days it was only rupees 5, I think, but now it was 30 times. It was 30 times costlier. That we will do it back. Now we'll just see on their way to Calcutta from the site Deodarganj. They just took a diversion towards Brahmapur, the native village of Aditya. And Aditya had two reasons to visit his ancestral house. First, to recall his memories, and now I have given you the second reason. Feeling guilty after listening to the recitation of the poem, in order to find the medal that he had dumped in the attic, he had to visit the ancestral home. This is the second reason there. And he just went there and he just started searching for the medal. Okay. And after getting it, they went to a jeweler's shop to find out the weight of it. And the jeweler only just gave them that it was an antique medal there. And he just gave the way, and it cost 150 rupees. Okay. And then they went to meet Sanyal. Okay. Until then, they did not, Aditya did not realize, and it was only Sanyal who recognized him. And now he repents for his misdeed, and therefore he wants to seek apology. But he thought that he would seek his apology only with the medal that he had taken. Okay, he had cheated him. So when he was a child, in the childhood days, Sanyal was bright, and Aditya was a fairly good student only, but he was jealous and envious with him, and he just took the medal, and he wanted to owe the medal there, and he went and he told that he would show it to his father and return it. But thereafter he said that he had lost his medal there, and after finishing his matriculation examination, he just left for Calcutta for higher studies. This is what we had seen earlier. Okay, now after meeting him, he understood the present scenario, the present status of Sanyal, and he wanted to help him out, and therefore he thought he would get the medal and then thereafter meet him. Okay. He was also given to understand that Sanyal had nobody to take care, and he was just staying with his father's friend, Jogesh Kabiraj. So they just went to Jogesh Kabiraj's house in search of Sanyal. Now let us look at the scene there at the Kabiraj's house and what was taking place there. Sanyal told Aditya that when they were studying in the school, Sanyal got the medal as a prize. I told you, it was a recitation, and it was Pan Raksha, keeping up one's promise there. But Aditya had never kept up his promise then. He just got the medal and said that he had lost it because he was jealous and envious with Sanyal, who was doing good at studies there. Even though he was rich, he was a fairly good student and could not tolerate or bear his act there, his smartness there. Okay. And at the same time, you should know the nature of Sanyal too. Sanyal had understood that it was Aditya. He recognized Aditya there, and he had purposely recited the poem Panraksha. And then he said, it seems, he got the medal as a prize. Aditya could not bear it, and he took it from Sanyal to show his father, but he never returned it to home. Okay, so it seemed to be a repetition, but you will have to get thorough with the story there. So it is woven around the two characters there, the schoolmates, the classmates, of which one was smart and the other was fairly good, but because he was jealous and envious, he could not tolerate the growth of Sanyal. He had just made it, okay, and therefore he feels guilty and he repents and he gets to convince him after 29 years. That is the story that we are dealing with, okay. And then after 29 years, Aditya gave Sanyal rupees 150 as a price of the medal. I told you, no, he just found the medal there in the attic, and thereafter he just found it was 5 rupees then, now it has become 30 times costlier, and it was 150 rupees there. But Sanyal was not ready to accept the money, okay, he wanted only the medal there, okay. Before that, look at the attic given there. Attic in the first slide reveals it's a room on the top of the building under the roof where all the unwanted things are dumped there, and it is a favorite place for children to play with all that unwanted things there. It is their own world. And now I would like to show you the crumpled wall of the attic there, and through the created windows you can just see the sky and the sun peeping into it, and you can just see the cobwebs there, and then you had the twigs scattered everywhere with the pigeon droppings and all that. And somehow we just found out the found out the lost article on some package there, and from there only he felt the sigh of relief. Okay, if he hadn't found the medal, definitely he would have been guilty only, but somehow he just made it a point to trace the lost medal. Okay, this will have to be clear. Now this is the attic where he found the medal there. Okay, and thereafter he took it to the jeweler, and the jeweler identified it to be an antique object, and he also weighed the medal, and he understood that it was around 150, and very happily he just handed over the currency to Sanyal, but Sanyal was not ready to accept it. Okay, he was just a different nature there, and he wanted to store it as a token of remembrance for his recitation, for on the medal was engraved Shriman Sasanka Sanyal, special prize for recitation 1948. Hope you understand the story, children. So it is around the 3 characters here. The one character wondering what was happening between the two there. The two were the schoolmates, the classmates, Sasank Sanyal and Aditya. So the narrator was not able to identify what was happening there, and later on comes to understand of what really had happened, and he had found out himself of what was going on between the two friends here. Okay, so any good apology has 3 parts here, and through the story we have just identified the 3rd part. Usually most people forget the 3rd part here, but here Aditya, I think he has done a wonderful job there. He had identified understood his mistake there, and thereafter repents for his mistake, and he had rectified his mistake by tracing the medal there and restoring it to the concerned person. So this is a lesson that teaches you a very great quality of repenting. Most of the people, they just don't feel sorry, they don't even accept that they had made a mistake there. And this is a 3rd part, what can I do to make it right? And that is what Aditya had done. So he had just visited his house to the attic to trace the lost article, and then he converted it in the form of money, but Sasank wanted it in the original form, for it had an engraved form there on the medal. Shriman Sasanka Sanyal, special prize for recitation 1948. Okay, hope you have understood the story, children. It is a very simple story, and it is again the quality. So sorry is a golden word actually. There are 3 golden words: sorry, please, thank you. And this is one such story that reveals the expression of regret, of how we will have to repent for what we have done. So this is very important, and this lesson teaches you not all people are ready to accept their mistake there. They don't even feel to apologize for what they have done. Okay, especially in this period, nobody is ready to accept that they have done mistake. But this is a story that had taken place when the children were doing their 10th standard. And maybe after 29 years, when he just visits his own village there, he identifies, he realizes, and then he repents and restores the article that he had looted once upon a time, usurped once upon a time from his friend Sasanka. Sanyal Sasanka. Hope you have understood the lesson, children. So once again, I would like to go through the slides and for your better understanding. Okay. So once again, we are just dealing with the 4th unit, the Attic, written by Satyajit Ray, and let us learn about Satyajit Ray. Satyajit Ray was born in Kolkata on 22nd May 1921. He is an Indian filmmaker, screenwriter, writer, graphic artist, music composer and author. And he authored he has written several short stories and novels, especially for young children and teenagers. His first movie was Padar Panchali, it seems, and it won number of international awards too. And this success set Ray as a world-class director. And he had received a number of awards, including 32 National Film Awards there. And he has received the highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, just before his death there. So I would like to highlight. So he authors a number of he has authored a number of stories for young children and teenagers. So this is one such story that had taken place in the childhood there, and it was realized after 29 years. Okay. The story is given the title, The Attic. The attic actually refers to the topmost room of a building under the roof where all the unwanted things are dumped there. And this is a favorite place for the children. For they are in their old world playing with all the unwanted things there. But this attic is very special to the author because the lost article was dumped here and he was able to trace it. Okay, and he had visited this attic after 29 years. Already this house is an ancestral house and it was 200 years old, and maybe after 29 years again he visited his house and then he just traced the metal there. Okay, so the attic is a story in which a man expresses his regret for some fault he committed 29 years ago during his childhood. And he seeks a sincere apology to the person concerned. I told you the person who made the mistake is Aditya, and the person who is concerned here, to whom the apology was sought, is Sasank Sanyal. Okay, and after 29 years, he returns to his village as a business magnate. He, along with his friend business partner, a narrator, were returning from the site of their own factory at Deodarganj. Okay, on the way to Calcutta, they just diverted towards Brahmapur, and Brahmapur is a native place of Aditya. And we would like to know about his father and grandfather. Actually, he belongs to a zamindari family. Okay, his father was a landlord and his grandfather was a zamindar. Therefore, Aditya was a spoiled son of affluent parents here. He had taken advantage because he was very rich enough. He was not that good at studies. He was a fairly good student only, and he had a friend. You can't say that he was a friend there, just a schoolmate named Sanyal, who was very smart. And he could not beat him in studies there. And he used to win a number of prizes and awards for recitation and all that. And one such day, there was a competition in reciting Panraksha, the poem written by Tagore. And the meaning of Panraksha is keeping one's promise there. It was a wonderful poem recited, and he had impressed the judges and all that, and he won the medal on that day. But Aditya could not tolerate his receiving the award there, and therefore he just told him that he would just show this medal to his father and return it, but he did not do it. He just went home and he just threw it in his attic there, and when asked by Sanyal, he said that he had lost it. So he did not feel guilty at all, he had just forgotten, because after his matriculation examination he had left for Calcutta to pursue his higher studies, and his father being a great landlord, he started a new business there. Okay, hope you understand. Okay, he belongs to a zamindari family, a very rich family, and he had taken too much of advantage because he was very rich, but he could not tolerate the others doing their best in their studies, and here he considers Sanyal as his rival who had won the medal. For he could not tolerate his winning the medal, he just usurped it and he just threw it in the attic there, and thereafter he never knew that he would visit him again. He would visit his own place again, and after 29 years he just comes to know. So after his father's death, Aditya had to take care of everything. He becomes a very responsible person there. He becomes a very great businessman there, and a narrator is a business partner to him. And on their way to Calcutta, now Kolkata, just happened to visit their house there. Their ancestral house that was 200 years old. Okay, first they just went to their school there. He could not recognize the school because there was a number of changes there, the big iron gate and the number of classrooms inside. That is all what he found there. It's not given here in the text, but these you come across in your text. So I've just given you the gist of the story, and you will have to understand. Just give a reading there in your text so as to cover the entire story there. Okay, so first he visited a school there which had very big iron gates and a number of classrooms and all that, and he was not able to recognize. And then he visited Nagan uncle's tea shop, which was very close to the school, opposite, very next to the grocery and opposite to the Shiva's temple and all that. And there you have the Nagan uncle, you can just see there on the picture there. And when they went to the Nagan uncle's tea shop, there was only one customer. It was a corner table, and he was just bending his head and thinking over something. And all of a sudden, he just started reciting a poem, and people were wondering what he was doing all of a sudden. And as it was 4 p.m., Nagan uncle just pushed him, stating that other customers would reach. And since he was having a very poor sight, he had to leave. And this is a regular routine of Sanyal. So Sanyal visits Nagan uncle's tea shop every day by 4 o'clock, it seems. He would like to have a tea with some biscuits and all that. And he never failed to pay the money for the tea, it seems. That is what we are given to understand. Once again, children, I have just given you the gist of the story, and you will have to go through the text for the entire coverage of the story. Okay, try to understand. So he visited Nagan uncle's tea shop there, and there he just found a person at the corner table who all of a sudden started reciting a poem, Pan Raksha, which means keeping one's promises. On listening to the recitation, there was a change on Aditya's face. Now the narrator could notice change on both their faces there, but he was not able to understand. But when he just spoke to Aditya, he just did not reveal what was going on there. So he was just waiting patiently to know what was happening there. And through Nagan uncle, Aditya comes to know about Sanyal. The Sanyal was leading a cursed life actually. He had sold all his lands to get his only daughter married, and he had lost his wife and only son last year, and he was staying with his father's friend Jogesh Kabra because he had nobody to take care of him. He had lost all his wealth there, he had lost his entire family and nobody to take care, and moreover he had very poor eyesight there, and therefore he had to stay with his father's friend Jogesh Kabiraj. Okay, and then now he felt guilty after listening to the poem there. So something struck him there. Once again, he forced a narrator to visit his ancestral house there. As I already told you, he had two reasons there, and he thought he would recall all the memories there, spending his childhood there. And now the most important thing is that he feels guilty of the lost article that he had taken from Sanyal once upon a time when he was doing in school there, and that was thrown at the attic there. So that is why he just urged him to take him to his ancestral house there. And there it is already an old house there, and now after 29 years it had a crumpled wall, and through the hole you can just see the sun penetrating, and you can see the part of a sky there, and you have all the twigs dropped by the birds there, you had the pigeon droppings there. Okay, you can just see the site of the attic there, and he was just wondering of how to search for the medal that he had thrown there, but somehow he just made it a point to just get it, and only then he felt the relief, felt a sort of relief there. And after getting it, he immediately ran to the jeweler's shop, and only through the jeweler he just came to know that it was an antique object. So he asked him to weigh and the rate there, and maybe it was 5 rupees then, and now it had become 30 times more, and it was around 150 it seems. Okay, after knowing everything and getting the medal, now Aditya was wanting to meet Sanyal there, and now the narrator and Sanyal just went to meet Aditya, and the narrator went to meet Sanyal. We know that he is just staying at Kabiraj's house there, so he just made his way to Sanyal. And there Sanyal, they asked a question about Aditya, and he just revealed that he was a spoiled son of the affluent parents there, and he was not good at his studies, and he was jealous and envious, and he had usurped his medal that he had won for his recitation on the poem there. And then Aditya revealed himself there, stating that he was Aditya, that he had taken the medal from him 29 years ago. And only then Sanyal revealed that he had identified him on the first meet at the tea shop there, and it was after recognizing him that he recited the poem there purposely to make Aditya realize that he was Sanyal. And when asked how he was able to identify Aditya, he said it was a mark on his it was a mole on his face that made him realize. Maybe he's the loser there, and that also the precious medal there, and how could he forget such a face there? And it was there, and that somehow made him realize, and he wanted to make Aditya realize his mistake. I don't know if you could repent and he would restore it, but just like that purposely he started reciting the poem there. And he says that Aditya could not bear the medal won by Sanyal. He took it from Sanyal to show to his father, and he never returned it to him. And he expresses anger only by reciting the poem, it seems. Okay, hope you understand. So Sanyal was actually angry with Aditya. He did not know how to express it, but he had realized it was Aditya who had usurped the medal from him 29 years ago. In order to make him realize and to express his anger, he started reciting the poem there. Okay, now he felt guilty, and thereafter he just ran to the attic there. He just traced the metal. He found the weight and the value of the metal, and he, in order to return it, restore it to him, he had just met Sanyal, and where? At Kabiraj's house. Why he stayed in Kabiraj's house? Because he had nobody to take care of him. Okay, now after 29 years, Aditya felt a sigh of relief here. He gave Sanyal rupees 150 as the price of the medal. And now Sanyal refused to accept the money. Yeah, it is a very precious medal to him. You should see on the medal was engraved Shriman Sasanka Sanyal, special prize for recitation 1948. How could he give up this? And therefore he refused to accept the money, and he wanted the medal. Then Aditya gave the medal to Sanyal, and only thereafter he felt that relief there. Okay, now he comes out of his guilty state, and he feels happy. Through this story, Satyajit Ray reinstates that apology is a very great quality not many of us understand that, nor is ready to accept that. And you have the third category where many of us try to rectify the mistake by doing it right. But here Aditya has made it right. That is why I think Satyajit Ray has won the highest civilian award, and he was also announced as a world class director. So he just brings in 3 characters, 2 schoolmates and one who could not understand of what was happening between the 2 students there. Now I think, children, you have understood. So if you make a mistake, be broad-minded to accept your mistake, and try to seek your apology. Try to realize your mistakes there. And once you have realized, you will have to rectify your mistakes there. And this realization or rectification means that you would not repeat the same fault again. And that is what Satyajit Ray reinstates through this story there, through a character called Aditya. And it had taken nearly 29 years to repent for his mistake there. And by restoring the medal to the owner, he feels a sort of relief. And thereafter, I think he led a very happy life. Okay, so the attic in it consists of a very great quality called regression or repenting for the fault that we commit. Okay, to err is human. It's quite natural that every one of us commit a mistake. Small or big, it is a mistake only. But how many of us realize our mistake and how many of us rectify it? Okay, through the story, I think, children, you have understood that you have learned a very big quality. Of course, we should not make mistakes. We should be very careful. And if at all we make mistakes, we'll have to repent for it. We'll have to seek apology for it. And we'll have to realize and rectify. And this rectification means not to commit again. To err is human, but you always can't do it. Taking advantage, okay? And mere sorry will never pay. Okay, mere sorry will never pay. And it is a golden word which will have to be realized in its true nature, in its true form. Hope you have understood the lesson, children. Now try to read the lesson. Some of you have a text there. I want you to go through. See, I have given you only the main points, and coming to the characters individually, I have given you the character of Aditya. I have given you the character of Sanyal. Okay, Aditya, a very rich boy, and he takes too much of advantage. He is fairly good at studies only, but he feels he cannot tolerate when Sanyal won the medal. He could not tolerate his way of recitation or studious in nature, and therefore he just ditches him by taking away his medal. And poor Sanyal, he expresses anger only through the version of Tagore, only through the recitation. So you come across 2 characters here, a very rich character and a very poor character. Now you will have to identify the 2 characters, the nature of the 2 characters, and how you will have to carry yourselves there. You have the third character was just wondering at the changes between the 2 people there, and towards the end he understands, and the narrator himself points out the main theme regarding the word apology, which means we'll have to realize and rectify our mistakes. Okay, with this I just finish with the prose part, the attic part. Try to read the story and try to understand. Okay, children, I think I'll wind up with the session today, and let's meet with the poem, The Ant and the Cricket of Unit 4. And you know, every unit has the same concept, and with the same concept we are just going to do. And here you have learnt about a very great quality called apology, and thereafter you will be doing with the hard work and the idle, the difference between the hard work that fetches you fortune and the idle nature taking you to the misfortune level. Okay, that we'll just deal in the next class. Until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless you. Thank you, children.